The cosmos stretched vast and silent around the forsaken starship, a derelict leviathan drifting in the void. Its hull was scarred by eons, a testament to the forgotten dreams of explorers past. Within its labyrinthine passageways, Xyloth, the last echo of the Tessara civilization, moved like a ghost, pursued by a memory that had taken flesh. Hal Briggs, the bounty hunter. I could sense him in my marrow, his determination a relentless pulse in the cold metal that entombed us both. He was human, a species I had observed from the shadows, their potential for both extraordinary kindness and devastating cruelty, a paradox I had long pondered. As I navigated the starship's innards, my thoughts were a whirl of desolation and resolve. The engine room loomed ahead, a cathedral of silence where the great reactors had once sung with power. It was here, in the heart of the vessel, where I would make my stand. Hal's footsteps echoed in the corridors, a measured beat against the quietude of space. I had laid traps, illusions spun from the fabric of my being, a heritage of the Tessara who had danced with the threads of reality itself. Yet Hal moved with an uncanny foresight, dispelling my efforts with a grace that betrayed his intimate knowledge of his quarry. He was close now, and I could almost feel the weight of his gaze. The Tessara had been watchers, voyeurs of the cosmos who valued knowledge above interference. It was a principle I mourned as I nestled among the dormant engines, the ghosts of my ancestors whispering warnings I had once ignored. Hal emerged, a silhouette against the faint emergency lighting. His weapon, a device designed to capture and bind, was poised with an unsettling certainty. "Gotcha," he said, his voice betraying a hint of both triumph and regret. The weapon remained steady, a promise of oblivion. "Why this pursuit?" I asked, my voice a cascade of ethereal tones translated to his tongue. "Why seek to extinguish the last of the Tessara?" His eyes, a mirror to the human soul, softened. The weapon lowered, and for a moment he appeared to grapple with an unseen adversary. "Your existence has a price for someone, somewhere," he said. "But maybe, just maybe, your worth goes beyond credits." In his words, I was no longer prey but a peer, a sentient being whose life held intrinsic value. He extended his hand, a human gesture of peace. "You're the final voice of your people," he continued, his voice a soothing balm to my frayed spirit. A voice that should echo into eternity, not be snuffed out in the darkness. With his offer, the engines of the forsaken vessel hummed to life, a chorus of resurgence as we stood at the threshold of a journey neither of us could have foreseen. The human had spared me. He had seen in me not a bounty to be collected, but a legacy to be preserved. Together, we faced the vast sea of stars, its celestial scribes penning our story in the fabric of the universe. In the cold expanse, Hal's mercy was a beacon. His pursuit, not born of avarice but of reverence, had carved a path of shared destiny. Humanity, with its patchwork of imperfections and wonders, had reached across the unfathomable distance to the other, the alien. And in that reach, hope was rekindled. I was the whisper in the dark, and at last I was heard. We charted a course for the outer colonies, where Hal believed we could find sanctuary, a place where the last Tessara could thrive among those who cherished life's sanctity. The journey was fraught with the unknown, but alongside Hal, the fear that once gnawed at my essence had abated. Days turned to weeks as we traversed the starry expanse. Hal shared tales of his origins, a youth spent on mining asteroids where the sky was a tapestry of unattainable beauty. I, in turn, imparted the lore of the Tessara, our culture's reverence for the cosmos, and our sorrowful fall to the scourge that had left me an orphan of the stars. The starship became more than a vessel. It was a crucible forging a bond between two disparate souls. The hunter and the hunted, now comrades, faced shared perils: rogue asteroids, the pull of relentless gravity wells, and the ever-present threat of discovery by those who sought me for their own ends. In our communion, we found solace. Hal, who had once viewed his quarry through the scope of his weapon, now saw a kindred spirit in the mirror of my being. And I, who had fled from the specter of extinction, now embraced the possibility of a future written in collaboration, not in solitude. The colonies appeared on the horizon like a promise of new beginnings. Nestled within the Carina Nebula's vibrant clouds, they were a mosaic of cultures and species, a testament to the resilience of life in the galaxy's uncharted corners. Here, on the fringes of civilization, Hal believed we could hide from the eyes that sought to snuff out the last of the Tessara. As we approached, the colony's orbital stations greeted us with the chatter of commerce and the bustle of trade ships. Hal navigated through the streams of communication with a deft touch, masking our true purpose among the mundane transactions of spacefaring life. We docked at a station orbiting a world named Haven, a place as much a sanctuary as its name suggested. Its surface was a tapestry of ecosystems, a refuge for those displaced by war or misfortune. Here, Hal said, were communities that would protect a being like me, not for profit, but for the sheer act of preservation. Disembarking from the ship was a surreal experience. The gravity, artificial though it was, tugged at my limbs, a sensation I had not felt since my home world had been torn asunder. I stepped into the station, flanked by Hal, and was met with a cacophony of life. Beings of all shapes and sizes bustled about, each absorbed in their own narratives. Hal guided me through the throngs, his hand at times on the small of my back, a human gesture of support. We met with station officials, beings who listened intently as Hal spun a tale of a rare creature in need of asylum, omitting my true identity to protect me from those who would still seek the bounty. The officials, a collective of species who valued life's diversity, agreed to grant me refuge. In their eyes, I saw not the calculating gaze of a hunter, but the warm acceptance of guardians. They offered me a place among them, to live, to share my history, and to continue the legacy of the Tessara. Hal stayed long enough to ensure my safety, his presence a comforting shadow. But the time came when he had to leave, the call of the bounty hunter's life beckoning him back to the stars. Our farewell was a quiet affair, no grand gestures or proclamations, just a simple nod and a soft, "Take care, Xyloth." I watched his ship disappear into the cosmic sea, a speck of light among countless others. I turned away, not with sorrow, but with a heart fortified by the knowledge that in the vast, indifferent universe, connections could be forged in the most unlikely of places. On Haven, I found my voice as the Tessara's chronicler, a role I embraced with fervor. I spoke of my people's legacy, our achievements, our downfall, and our understanding of the universe's delicate tapestry. I became a bridge between what was and what could be, a mentor to those who sought to understand the fragility and wonder of existence. And through it all, the memory of Hal Briggs, the human who had hunted me but offered redemption instead, remained a constant echo. His actions had redefined my understanding of humanity, of life itself. The stars, once the harbingers of my end, now whispered of beginnings, of stories yet to unfold. And within that boundless possibility, I found not just survival, but revival. For in the end, I was Xyloth of the Tessara, the whisper in the dark, the voice that would resonate through the ages in the sanctuary among the stars.